they don't want to be treated like they know nothing. So there's what I think is going to work in the future. You want real people working with real stuff. And I think that the future lies in incubator brands. And I'm actually telling you something I shouldn't tell you because next, I was going to do this after my constraint comes off. I think there's a real place for something like a JV between a multinational and a small winery. And right now there's some fantastic branded wineries that are struggling a little, but the corporates aren't spending because everything is tight and they're cutting the flesh off the bone. So maybe just we have to take a small winery and prep that company for sort of an earn-out sale. So it assumes that you know the markets intimately, that you know the distribution houses intimately, that you know the person you're going to pitch to or the company you're going to pitch to intimately. So develop this in style, in terms of varietals, in terms of just, because now I know exactly when it's ready to be dropped into the bigger company and how to prep those companies for sale. So I think that there's the next model coming out. I don't know what it is yet. I just think that this is certainly something that we can do. So that's a future model, I hope. Chris? Don't know, of course. This, by the way, here is how a vineyard really looks in Marlborough when you started. Those stones were there, we didn't put them there. So you can imagine how hard it is just to stick a post in the ground. It's virtually impossible. Anyway, then they go and push those stones into the ground with this little machine. It's like a jackhammer, reverse jackhammer. I'm going to go back to that other
success slide.
Yeah. Okay, so King Crawford wines. Here we sold the thing. It's now in the hands of Constellation, and people say, so what did you do that was so different? I think that distribution for most wineries is absolutely key. I think I've elaborated enough on that. I think the relationships are so important. Every relationship needs to be worked. Every person is a potential customer, is a potential ambassador, and so the position is not. And I should go right here now. These are just some winery shots, and that's what life is like over there. I just want to talk to you about challenger brands really quickly, because brand obviously was everything for us, that everything rested on that. A person's name was on that, so this person was in quite a difficult position, and he had to behave when he didn't want to. And when things go bad, that person's in a terrible position. So, will I give a brand another person's name? Never. Never. Too hard. So, just as an example of things that work for this brand in terms of challenging. Firstly, it challenged the establishment with that virtual model. Old boys did not like it because we weren't real players and we weren't real investors and we weren't serious. Last year at the GrowPro conference, I was sharing a podium with a guy, and you know what, he said the same thing. And I thought, well, you pour money down the drain, I don't. There was also people had quite a difficulty understanding what we actually sold when we sold this brand. Well, we sold this brand and IP, so effectively what did we really sell? Nothing. We still have all those other things and a few dollars in the bank. So it certainly was, people still struggle with that. Because you don't do it like that in wine. Story of Kim, and if some of you know Kim, some people say, how can you take this joker seriously? Others say, big mistake, don't do it because he had her. So it really worked well for the two of us. We had two sets of skills that just flowed together. A lot of things that this brand's got enormous latitude and elasticity and permission to do things. We were the first go-to-market with screw caps in 01. We do midnight tastings because how many of you have been waiters? You come off service and you're wired for sound and you're not going to go to bed, are you? So that's when we taste wine. That now is an institution in Toronto. We actually haven't done one in New Zealand. We have to, really. But the brand has enormous latitude around the world. Challenge Society. Remember, I can't remember if any of you remember the Pansy affair, the rosé called Pansy. Probably the best party Auckland had. It was the wine that we had a relationship developed. I don't know why the gay community took the brand in its wings, because I think it was seen as standing up to City Hall. And I remember once one of the hospitality people said, well, you know, you should make a wine for us gay people in Ireland. I said, yeah, call it Pansy, and away we went. I don't think that we have never sought acceptance nor approval from the establishment. We value our relationship with our customers and our partners. You know, that's still quite important to me. I don't know what's going to happen with the brand. I hope they maintain that spirit in it, but that was one of our core foundations. That was the Pansy party for those who, I don't know if anybody was here. Here was there, was in 04, and in hospitality people still talk about that awesome party. This to me is the best picture of our brand. It's in the winery, it's an Italian vintage worker, his name's Mauro, and he was a walking accident, disaster just waiting to happen. And you know, he just stood there one day and I just said, can I take a photograph? We cut his head off. Because it's just the expectation, isn't it? And the labour and the love and everything that goes with it, but more so the attitude of what's next in that picture. I love that. But the Americans rejected that because it looked like blood, and we sell Sauvignon, so why is there red wine? And what's it got to do with wine? So you'll see now that it's got a bottle of wine with glasses is the new livery that's going to be rolled out. So sorry guys, this is the last of King Crawford. And so, tasting notes to us is not always necessarily by wine writers who put it nicely in a paper. This was his Millions in Sydney, and these were his notes. I took it on my phone, and you can read that for yourself. This is our brand. On the left there is the cellar door in Hawke's Bay, and if any of you have the opportunity to go there, Tijuana, so slightly out at an angle and at an edge, it's absolutely beautiful. We've always been involved and been lucky to be involved in younger people and emerging artists we've supported. This was at Illuminati many years ago. You know, the furniture design for the Unitech. And that is that.
We've got a couple of minutes for questions, so if anybody's got a question, yes.
Yeah. Then we did. Grapes were much cheaper. It's probably almost even cheaper than it is today. So the grape price in our time went up by $1,000 a ton. So that was one factor. The other thing was, I think people were good to us. You know, a lot of cork suppliers gave us breaks for paying the bills, and bottle suppliers. It actually took us through the first year, and we broke even at year 4 or year 3. No. It did actually, it's amazing how far it took us. But remember, we had nothing, we only produced the product and got it out there. We didn't place advertisements or do TV campaigns. We went to restaurants and ate and worked the waiters. So the distributor got the listings, we worked the waiters, because the waiters are the people who force the bottle turnover. How often do you go to a restaurant and say, oh, I don't know, what shall I have? What do you think? And that's what we did. So, not really. It took us remarkably far.
Just with respect to the screw top caps,
Yeah.
of course, wine industry is an industry where, like you said, there's old boys and people with tradition. What led to this decision, and how did you go about making this catch on in the